Kathy White here. Happy birthday. As you know, people influence each other. Teaching affords an outsized opportunity for that influence, and the influence isn't always what you'd expect. You probably recall my exasperating you, first by talking too much, and then by not talking at all during Lent. You handled it well. What you may not remember is the piece of fluff that I handed in as a public service announcement to practice the basic camera moves that you just taught us in class. I understood what you were asking. Scared the bejesus out of me. I couldn't think of anything that was important enough to me to make into a PSA. It felt like a moral failing. But it didn't work for me to find a cause. Causes had to find me. They did. And the process snowballed over the decades. At 28 and still a student, I bought a 2-family house to make sure that at least one student renter, besides me, would have a decent place to live and a landlord that treated them decently. After swabbing blood off the lips of a friend with AIDS, I fostered the first HIV-positive infant to come through the Hamilton County system. My Marcus would be 33 now. In my 40s, I traveled to Palestine to witness apartheid firsthand. And then I added that activism to my list. As years passed, I read more and more about global warming and started working with church groups to offer workshops on the changes that we can all make on a personal level. Finally, 10 years ago, I walked out of my classroom to make sure that my students would have a livable planet. Somehow, that seemed more important than English. Ironically, this goal has landed me in law, one of only 2 writing fields that I despise, the other being philosophy. My main activist work is writing laws and persuading lawmakers to pass them. In 2021-22, legislation by my 350 Chicago group codified into law the divestment of Chicago's operating funds from fossil fuels. 350 also supported the passage of CEJA, which is basically a Green New Deal for Illinois. Your daughter's probably told you about it. In 2023, our HB 3037 to divest state pensions, including mine, got stuck in the Rules Committee. So we're recruiting sponsors for next session. It'll happen. Closer to home, I'm using Go Green Skokie as a platform to teach native planting and soil regeneration for drawing down carbon without the environmental problems of carbon capture and storage, which really don't work. You may have read that soil scientists have been making news. They have calculated that, performed worldwide, soil regeneration can reduce atmospheric CO2 levels to pre-industrial levels. Plus, anybody with a yard can do it. Also in Skokie, an ad hoc group of us wrote 3 ballot initiatives last year to restructure our electoral system so we can make environmental progress locally and get some other control here. All 3 initiatives passed last November. With the electoral reforms threatening their jobs, Skokie's elected officials suddenly became cooperative. In only 5 months of planning and meeting, another ad hoc group of us has persuaded officials to legislate environmental sustainability and affordable housing. They really do go together. The new village budget includes money for both a sustainability coordinator and a land trust. I'm so impressed. The vote was Monday night, and it went through. So, would I have committed my energy and money to these causes without your 9th grade English class? Maybe. But when I think about how I got here, I look back at an English teacher who asked us to find our calling. Happy 90th. You made a difference.